It was a day of bittersweet emotions, as Assembly of First Nations Regional Chief for Quebec and Labrador, Ghislain Picard, pointed out at a press conference in Ottawa.
It's a very beautiful, a happy decision by the Supreme Court, but it is also, in a way, a sad day that the well-being and the future of these children has been an issue debated before the courts for the past 4 years and beyond.
The Supreme Court ruled against Quebec's challenge that Bill C-92 infringed upon the province's jurisdiction. In a more than 100-page decision, the court finds there's nothing that prevents the federal government from affirming Indigenous peoples' right to self-government as set out in Section 35 of the 1982 Constitution, and the Act is valid in establishing national standards that give Indigenous people control over their children's welfare. Also at the same press conference, Derek Montour of Ganawaki Community Services said the court decision confirms what Indigenous peoples have long known.
This ruling reiterates the message that we have been emphasizing for years, that First Nations, Inuit and Métis are best placed to ensure the wellness of our own populations. Following today's decision, provincial governments and even the federal government no longer have any reason to abstain or discredit the legitimacy and competency of our governments.
Picard added First Nations have had a strained relationship with the province in recent years, but this is an opportunity to reset that relationship.
The fact that we are forced before the courts will certainly limit the good faith on our part, and we've always conveyed and believed in the position that our peoples have compromised enough. I think it's time now for other governments to do the same. I think that's the only way that trust and good faith will prevail.
Indigenous Services Minister Patty Hajdu said at another press conference on Parliament Hill that it is a historic day, where Canada's top court ruled in favour of Indigenous people's inherent right to oversee and draft laws that affect their children's welfare.
This decision by the Supreme Court to uphold that inherent right, to recognize the legitimacy of federal law, to bolster that right and to place that right in Canadian law, I think is going to have tremendous impact across the country.
APTN News reached out to the Quebec government for comment. In an emailed statement, Minister of Social Services Lionel Carman's office says the dispute has never been between the government and First Nations and Inuit people, but with the federal government. It also says it will continue to work with First Nations and Inuit groups in the province, and that it will need time to analyze the Supreme Court's decision. It also says the interests of the children will always come first. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.